Basically, what I was telling them was warning them about the rules of engagement and admonishing them and reminding them of the Chief of Army Staff's special directive, which has been in place for a long time, that they must not molest civilians, especially women and children. The Chief of Army Staff views it very strongly. And believe it or not, once we have those kind of complaints, they are investigated much faster than you think, sometimes within hours, and such people are dealt with. He asked me, a soldier asked me, when is he supposed to open fire? And I told him, I'm sure you have a copy now, my lord. I told him, you only open fire on the word of command of the commander on the ground, or if your life or innocent civilians' lives are being threatened. This is compulsory for any operation you are going to undertake. So the men will be on the same level with you. This was the Oba's palace. A crowd had gone there, burned the APC, and were intent the armored personnel carrier of the police. It's an armored personnel carrier of the police, and looted the area. Such armored personnel carriers perhaps are deployed when there's a riot. They not only overran the police that went there to quell it, burnt it, and looted the Oba's palace. The Nigerian army extricated the Oba of Lagos. I don't think it's funny. Both him and his family were ferried to safety. This was the 21st. Were able to ferry all of them to safety. No life was lost in here. The general officer commanding, who was on assignment to Abuja, spoke on video call to the leader of the mob and asked him to call off his boys after we had secured the safety of the Oba of Lagos. Simultaneously, the business district area of Lagos, this is when they stole the maize. No respect for tradition. It's inconceivable this will happen. This, I believe, can never happen to the Queen of England, no matter our thoughts. The business district area were looted or was looted. Marina, cash and carry, and the Nigerian Port Authority. Vehicles were burnt, set ablaze, and the offices were ransacked. They were looking for money. Just as I said earlier on, once a protest lasts a few days, hoodlums are making active plans to penetrate. This is one that was arrested there. You can see he even came prepared with his glove. The generator house and some parts of the buildings were vandalized. Private cars set ablaze. I believe this in fact was a diversion. They attempted to invade the government house, Marina, and they were repelled by own troops. There was an attempted jailbreak at the Koyi Correctional Center.
I'm talking of among the staff. Injured.
This jailbreak was carried out simultaneously with that in Kirikiri. The prisoners here set their accommodation ablaze and hoped to escape in the ensuing confusion. The 81 Division, services, and police who are there to contain the outbreak in both places. They not only try to break out from the correctional facilities, they also burnt the Goshere High Court. And that tells you they wanted to get rid. It was deliberate. In most of these instances, you just study it well, you see the pattern emerging. Nobody tried to break into those places. Rather, the prisoners tried to break out. At the same time, they had information of the going on outside. This was troops of 149 Battalion, correctional facility that thwarted that jailbreak. They burnt places like ShopRite, Spa, Lekki. I was on ground for this, and what hurt me most was that women and men, children, mothers were even taking their children to go and loot. And by the time I got here, I had received a distress call from the MD of SPA. And he even said, please, sir, let them loot the place, but they should not set it on fire. He was pleading. And I met many of them. Because if you know the Lekki well, there is a road almost about 600 meters or so. You drive in. After like 100 meters, I asked my soldiers to dismount, form an extended line. And these looters still had the temerity to walk up with the looted goods I'm talking of 5,000 people. Woke up with looted goods and they will be telling you, all correct, sir. Looting freely. This is the Lekki Circle Mall.
Where?
You can say this is where the moment we got in there.
Where's the fire?
We're able to put that out. Whilst going to rescue Spa, I met looters looting
What?
Lekki.
Guy, release. Up.
You can hear that. I was ordered to release a shot. And I said, up. Because despite the fact they are looters, I did not want any casualty. I wanted to catch them so they will pay.
Come here. I said, come here. I will ask him to release on you. Come here. Come here. Come here. Lie down there. Lie down there. I said, lie down there. Hey, get there. Lie down there. Lie down there. I said, lie down. Oh, yeah, come again. Here. Oh, yeah. Detain all of them here. Straight. Don't worry. Get all of them. Bring all of them here. Bring all the looters here. Lie down.
I asked them to form a cage. A cage is just a temporary arrangement, not cage as a metal structure. Most of the looters, all the looters, not most, I arrested and men arrested were taken to 65 battalion. As you can see, we have people of virtually almost every tribe there. You will recall that that day there was a audio message that was purportedly from one Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed, yes, indigenous people of Biafra, claiming the Igbos were responsible for the mayhem in Lagos. Nothing could have been further from the truth. By my own assessment, most of the businesses destroyed were Igbo owned. People like Oke Ajibe, Simon Iyesi, Ineto Razulike, they had their businesses destroyed to various degrees. Now, despite the fact that
he is a thief. You see, all of
we
everything
even went arrested a few.
Close to Chicken Republic. On investigation, See everything. What? See everything.
In one case, the man had looted things required for a house, door, AC. And by the time we went to arrest him, he had already installed them. Fact, he had installed them. Any looter that was not arrested within ShopRite Circle Mall, Spa, Lekki, or ShopRite Shangotedo was arrested with looted items on the road. It was a free for all. We had entered the stabilization phase when the Lagos state government lifted the curfew without informing us. It was first lifted to 6 o'clock, then to 10. On both occasions, we were not informed because we would have advised that the curfew still be in place by till Sunday, because we are carrying out stabilization. No police was around. We are recovering a lot of looted items. These items were handed over to their owners on production of receipts or proof of ownership. Some that had been recovered from looters were handed over to the police for prosecution. These are some of the looted items. If the curfew was not lifted, I make bold to say we'll have recovered maybe 100 times more than this. The whole of Jakonde area, Alpha Beach, Shangotedo, there are some place in Lekki Phase 1, was awash with looted items. When you go to the places they looted, if it's foodstuff, you see it all over the floor. This was not, it was not the action of hungry people. Some cases, somebody will loot a bag of rice. 3 others will fight him for it and they'll end up sharing. No. Stealing everything all over the place. So the wastage was much. It's looted in ShopRite Shangotedo. They got off lightly, in my own estimation, because they were not burned. Only a few, some shops, not a few, some shops were looted by the time troops got in there to stabilize the place. Some still even had the effrontery to go in there. We were arrested 3 Nigerian citizens in here. They still had the effrontery to go in there to try and loot. And when I was talking to the manager, I said, you all got off lightly. He told me he does not think 50% of the shop owners are returning. And the reason for this is because they were hit during the xenophobia attacks and they had barely recovered. This motorcycle that was looted from, I think, Spa or so. I can't remember. Television. The chief of army staff, despite the fact that they were looters, he said we should be humane towards them. So they were fed what the soldiers ate 3 times a day. I'm sure some of them did not want to leave. When I put them on the parade ground under the hot sun, It hurt me, but I'll provide mineral for them to keep them hydrated, mineral and water. I counsel them.
Even it is the mothers among you. Lack compassion. You don't get pity for yourself. How you go steal person load? You know happy say you steal a load. You come burn the shop on top. You go all those big supermarkets like Shoprite, Spar, Claris Plaza, Kasha carry everything, burn am. You don't forget say na your brother and your sister work there. This problem katakata go end. Where you go work? I want see. Where you go work? The person where they feed you, now you go burn the house. You go thief. Common mineral. Small time you go push am comot. You scatter everywhere. Every time there is problem, you go that place, go scatter those things. And you think say they go continue to dey open shop for you? Which protest? You are not protesters. You are not the protesters. They are all criminals. Look at you. Listen. Look at it now. You go to jail for something that is very something that won't even last 1 hour. This is very bad. It's very bad. You burn tire on top of the road, damage motor road, as if no be your house. It's just like say you burn your house. Where you go to tomorrow? You go to burn ordinary man for Ajade, Papa, who don't be like you. You thief everything, thief the brush, thief mirror, burn shop. That's when they talk like God no go happen with you. And you see this way they call karma. You know the meaning of karma? Karma na anything you do, you go pay for that. Either here or in the afterlife. That thing wey they call karma. As your life don't want to do good, this book wey you go go. The other people wey convince you make you go do am, wey dey do now. And I don do it for them for 1 day. Only God knows how many years you can spend for them. For what? Nothing. Yeah. There has to be consequence. If you know you get confidence to go to that thing, then get confidence to serve the police. Yes, everybody dey fight make Nigeria better, make Nigeria better. Una dey fight scatter. If you no dey scatter that book place, una dey burn or kill person, burn am. Go Shoprite by that junction, you go put tire on top person, you burn am. You don give you ticket to heaven na so. Your belle full. You go police station. Yes, you dey vex some people. But no mean say you go police station, go burn everything, carry their ammunition comot wey dey go suppose use protect you. Burn the motor. People wey even come complain, innocent people wey carry their motor dey say dey come complain, come do something, you burn their motor join. God no fit forgive you for this kind. Whether you be Muslim, Christian, or traditional, na the human you do, everything, no, nothing free for you. And every day you say, one million, that million, that million. Half of una head, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you just dey drink paraga, you just dey smoke igbo. How your life go straight? Some of una get work for hand, but you dey look at say the money you dey get this work no content you. You wetin you be? Plumber. Wetin you be? Fabricator. You go hairdresser. You get work for hand. Why you never be?
This perhaps reflected what the hoodlums were after. The most targeted places were the financial institutions. This is a bank. This bank actually even got off light. Another bank vandalized in Ijora. This is the safe of an ATM. You could see the expertise employed. They came with a cutting machine, and I think this is 20 mm. So it took them the better part of maybe a night or so to cut it, and they got a little money. They now proceeded into the vault, tried to penetrate it from the side, no luck, went on top, no luck, then came with the cutting machine. It was in the same bank. When they managed to cut this iron, they met concrete inside, and the man gave up. He just gave up and went home. We were able to help them. These are vandalized vehicles in the bank. It was that many of them had their brain boxes removed. Then they will smash every other thing. We caught these 3 boys within Zenith Bank, Aja. This particular one in the middle, in the center, is called Gift God Sent. Wonderful name. He was one of those who burnt the Aja police station, in which a policeman died. How do we know this? On his phone, he had selfies of him carrying out the act. We were able to help banks evacuate about 2 billion naira after 2 days, because these vaults, many vaults had been damaged. The hoodlums were working as a team and systematically. In some instances, they even tore the whole ATM away to another location. If you can imagine how heavy an ATM is, then you can imagine the amount of effort it took them to do that. Now, how were we able to calm the situation in Lagos? It was due to the use of non-kinetic means, which is mandated in the rules of engagement. Non-kinetic means are those means short of violence, which you use to resolve a situation. While kinetic means is the use of violence to resolve the situation. We saw this foreign national, a Ghanaian, who had been stabbed by hoodlums and robbed. Soldiers treated him, even bought a new shirt for him, gave him a haircut, and returned him to his consulate in Ikeja. This is how we resolve the crisis: talking.
Yeah. And continue with your normal business. This is part of it. People don't know anymore. Just create little. Go and we are here to protect them. We are not here. We are here to make sure that our roads are free. Our roads are free. The hoodlums that are taking the advantage, we are here to get them. When they go to hoodlums, we grab them and then keep them somewhere. Is that clear? Yes. So this is our mission here. So please go back to your various schools. You are don't be like say this situation will end. One big money will come meet everybody. No, we go still go back to the work wey we dey do. If you want, that's not my answer. If you want, you can do that. Eh? So we have to calm down. There are a few of us wey dey here wey dey do bad things. If you travel along, go along this road up to Marina, up to Surulere, person wey dey manage her life or him life, you go dey destroy him life. The property. Before you know, you don't understand. But I really try. We are talking about tomorrow here.
If Nigeria, we all used to not find anything or whatever, you understand? And moreover, we say peace, Nigeria has peace and peace. Now you are constant on 26 times. You understand? Now when something is so well, and we have been hoping that something is well, when we are not seeing anything. Now you can stand up. What is our president supposed to do? No, let's look at yeah, we enter and get this through, but these are costs. With the yes, rich people can provide it, why poor people cannot provide it? You understand? Now where you can stand Okay, number one.
My Lord, this was basically what we did throughout the night of 21st along the Ikoyi down to Ekpe, down to Ikorodu angle. When we talk, they will go and put out the fire with the hands, and all who was doing was cheering us on. This is the commander, 9 Brigade. Some people on the mainland.
To preach a message of love and peace. You understand? Love and peace. There's no need to go about burning places or attacking people. Because if you go to attack the government house, for instance, some of you will occupy that same house with time. You know, you're the leaders of tomorrow. Protect all of these things so that the things will be available for us. All of us elsewhere.
More than only talking. Take a look at the after the crisis. Like I said earlier, my Lord, I'm not a prophet, but what I know for sure, this Yuletide season is going to be rough. It has already started manifesting itself. Already. Troops managed to arrest these robbers with a weapon stolen from the police armory. Now there's a high level of insecurity along the Jakonde, Aja, Badore, Shangotedo axis. Why? These hoodlums made a deliberate attempt to get rid of the police in that area, so they can operate freely. If we say no protest lasting more than 3 days is hijacked, then you can imagine a protest against the people meant to arrest the criminals. The criminals will use it as an incentive to commit enough mayhem to get them off the streets. That is the police. This occurred the day before yesterday at Badore. A bullion van or an armored truck carrying money was attacked. If you look at the modus operandi of robbers in Lagos, They don't do this. They don't go, they don't even rob banks like other states where they even use dynamite and everything. It was because that is not the modus operandi in Lagos that we did not see bank votes being dynamited. They'll have used dynamite on them to open them and just pick the money. But because that's not the modus operandi, that's why you didn't see this. But now they are emboldened, well armed. One Okada man lost his life in this incident. Called fight. I apologize. Some of the images are very gruesome. Called fight. Looking for supremacy. This was yesterday again. Needless violence. I apologize. But see it and tell ourselves the truth. Lynched citizens. This one is not a policeman. See that Jakonde area in right the just opposite ShopRite is a hovel. All you get there is a real slum, and this is all they do. On that day of the crisis, troops saved not less than 6 people from being lynched. From last week Monday to Wednesday, not less than 12 people have been killed because we have been getting the reports. Let us look at the visit by the Honorable Panel of Inquiry to Military Hospital, Lagos. I was watching the television, the TV, and I saw the Honorable Panel trying to gain access to the Military Hospital, Lagos. And tempers were even raised because they couldn't gain access. A military barrack is a restricted area anywhere in the world. Even so-called free countries, you cannot just waltz in to a barrack. My Lord, you agree with me? Even if you are to visit somebody in a hotel, you cannot just walk straight to his office or his room. You get that list. And that was what happened and what accounted for the 30 minutes delay. The General Officer commanding ordered me to quickly reach the hospital, grant you, but also inform you that there are procedures for this kind of things. And when I got there, I met the Leonard Silk there, and they said they had intelligence that they had some bodies of. And when they said intelligence, it struck me because intelligence is a greater form of information because it is information, bits of information, essential elements of information that have gone through a cycle, and you'll be able to say for certain, this is there. My Lord, whoever gave that intelligence did a disservice to this panel. Because, just as I said that day, the military hospital Lagos has been under repairs for a year now. I grew up in Lagos, and the military hospital then was a center of excellence. But things had deteriorated to the point that even X-rays taken then could not be read properly. My junior brother went there 2016, thereabout, and took an X-ray that could not be read. And the diagnosis was that they were going to operate and remove a part of his lung using that X-ray. We had to take him to another hospital, a private hospital, and he took the X-ray and found out he didn't even need an operation, just a few drugs. That was it. It was this state of affairs that led the Chief of Army Staff to find ways to insist the place is renovated. Because one of his cardinal agenda is the welfare of officers, and he does not joke with it, especially as it relates to medical facilities. That is why they are building a reference hospital now in Abakaliki, which has been paid for completely. It will soon be commissioned, open to both officers and men and the public. Building one in Maiduguri, upgrading 44 and 68 reference hospital. That place has been completely shut down. And as you can see here, we took you through the hospital. And at best, I think the decorative renovations are just about 75% complete. POP, doors, tiling. The equipment is not here. The officer commanding, the commandant, has relocated into the officers' mess, that structure beside the mosque. That's his office now. All doctors, nurses, the same others, have been posted to other units since last year to work. This what is supposed to be and will be when it's completed. And I remember I was asked two questions. One, is there any other mortuary or hospital within this general vicinity? No, there is none. I felt they said he who asserts must prove. I will read law when I finish. He who asserts must prove. So it looked more like fishing. And somebody else asked me, when are the bodies moved? And I, for want of a very cheeky reply, I just said October 2019. To my surprise, when I put on the television, 6 o'clock in the evening, the newscaster or one of the correspondents who was there with us said, I did not take her to the, or I did not take the panel to the mortuary. And I was wondering, I didn't take them around, we just showed them somewhere that has been hastily renovated. My Lord, that structure, even looking at it, the person who made that claim should have at least asked the neighbor, that's Westwood Hotel, when, how long that place has been under renovation before coming to embarrass him or herself. Let us now look at the misinformation against the Nigerian army. There has been a lot of misinformation against the Nigerian army. We never can seem to catch a break. Everything that is done in fulfillment of our constitutional mandate is always criticized. Even when you produce facts beyond refute of an incident, all you get is abuse. You are lying. You are telling the truth over nothing. We all remember this video.
My name is Aisha Mohammed. I live at Alpha Beach, number 32, Dorcas Street. I went to Japan to go and buy school fees to cook for my children. I'm a mother of 4 children. On my way going, we met so many soldiers and some boys. So some people are running. When I know I didn't do anything, I didn't run. They said we should come here, come here.
This was a very touching story. In fact, they will say super story or stories that touch they had. Unfortunately for her, I listened to this video. Unfortunately for her, me, a Yoruba man, arrested her, psycho mom. The other officer that was with me was Yoruba. The military police who was investigating is from the south. How I pray, how will they release the northern? She said they spoke language to her. I don't speak Hausa. They spoke Hausa. When those two spoke Hausa, the soldiers released them. We do not operate that way. She said we have not fed them. She was among those who were at the parade ground. She was sitting in front, if you notice. You could see the mineral there and everything. We didn't know this will... Huh? You have to go back. We didn't know this would come up. Unfortunately for her, we tried as much as possible to record most of the incidents. This is the moment she was arrested. We can all see clearly this is ShopRite Circle Mall, Lekki. My soldiers had sealed off all the exits and entrances and were rounding up everybody found within the mall.
See, not that sick. Not that sick. You, join them. Go down. I say go down. I say go down.
My Lord, ladies and gentlemen, I present Mrs. Aisha Mohammed. Yeah. Now, we sent this video to a media house, and they munched it, or I don't know how they do it, and edited it and showed the minute she was complaining and the minute she was arrested. But to my utter shock, all I saw all over social media was abuse. It's not the woman. The woman was wearing a cape. This one and a trouser. This one arrested was wearing a skirt and a hijab. So I tried my hand at my own little ICT and munched the picture. Can see the hijab. This cape or hoodie was not with her. And it indicates clearly somebody must have brought it from home for her. See the skirt? See how it's consistent with this skirt covering the trouser? I had to bring this to lay to rest, put to bed some of these allegations. The military hospital issue has been well flogged. However, some civilians entered the place again. I saw it on one of the social media pages, and it couldn't get better. While they were walking and filming, they met 3 people, POP men, walking inside. And they asked them, how long have you been working here? They said for this period, 2 weeks. But they have been repairing the place since. This one, they just came to do the POP. They asked them the same mortuary question. They said, hey, can't they see that this place is under repairs? And the man put it on social media. It was still the same abuse. They don't believe they are hiding something. They must have gotten rid of the bodies in 30 minutes. Haba. A deliberate campaign of misinformation. A day after the Lekki shooting.
Well, let's speak to Damilona Banjo, a journalist from BBC Pigeon.
This was a BBC report.
Last night, she joined us live from Lagos. So welcome here to the programme. Why don't you start by just describing what it was like there when the shooting started, what you actually saw and heard?
Yesterday I was on the protest ground and I was doing live stream for the Pigeon service when the soldiers came in. At that point, the protesters were peaceful. They were holding high their flags and their placards and chanting "Ansad, Ansad." And so when the man came in and started shooting what the coordinators of the protesters then asked the protesters to do was to sit on the floor, and the instruction was sit on the floor and just stay in one location. But of course, the sight of the military man got the protesters really angry and agitated.
My Lord, Chairman of the panel, members of the Honorable Panel, ladies and gentlemen, the takeaway from this is the continuous mention that soldiers were shooting in the air. The second thing, the casualty she saw, she was there on the spot. The casualty she saw had been overcome by shock and is consistent with the affidavit that was sworn before this panel when he said people fainted but they were revived. This is not really in the public space because it does not fit the narrative of what some people want to hear. It doesn't fit the narrative. That's why it's not in the public space. Or when you see it, they will tell you it has been photoshopped. It has been manipulated to suit. Let's look at the use of social media in propagating falsehood during the crisis. Most of us are privy to the sound clip by Kanu, the leader of IPOB, claiming the violence was caused by Igbo people, which was false. Such people sit in the comfort of their houses in foreign nations and seek to make other people do dirty jobs for them. They seek to put a wedge between us and between the citizens of Nigeria and the Nigerian army. Let's look at the video clip of a man in UK giving all Igbos 48 hours ultimatum to leave Lagos. It was laughable. I didn't even finish listening to it, I was laughing. But I became worried when many Igbo friends started calling to say, are they okay? Their life is, whether their life is under threat and everything. Such things look small. They don't look as if they mean anything. But in reality, it means a lot. This is the tactics people use to sow confusion. We had photoshopped images of a gun truck firing on civilians. A gun truck is what you use in the Northeast. If you even see the uniform, what I'm wearing now is the woodland camouflage. You use the desert camo in the north, and that was what was there. And if you see all the comments, people had fallen for it. We also had imposters presented as soldiers carrying out atrocities. And in one instance, there was a parade of soldiers that 81 Division did during the COVID-19 period. Those were fake soldiers who were arresting them at a rate of 25 per day. They brought up these pictures and said the army is taking disciplinary measures against those people that carried out the Lekki incident. I went researching further. Let us look at some of those things. That the photo of a man carrying a woman wrapped in is not from Lekki toll gate incident. This image has erroneously been used to illustrate Lekki toll gate incident and passed as victims of the event that happened on October 2020. This was gleaned from africheck.org, ICRNI, and ICIRNI Nigeria.org. And it is from a play by the Nigerian Christian Corpus Fellowship. The group has come to refute it, but no, it's a lie. They have paid them. They will say something else. Even the use of the flag that has become the motif or the display picture is from that play. at it, Blood on the Flag Challenge. This was 2018. It was passed on as one of the images of Lekki shooting. Let's dig further. Lady reportedly killed along with her 2 friends at the Lekki toll gate. The story: a lady simply identified as Lucy Adu was last seen in a video dancing at the Lekki. Another video of Lucy's lifeless body and 2 other unidentified people in a flatbed truck was shared on social media. It was alleged that she was killed by soldiers who reportedly shot at unarmed protesters at the Lekki toll plaza. We have to fact check this. Analysis: the lady Lucia Adu certainly attended the protest at Lekki toll plaza. However, it is unclear what day she attended the protest. Allegedly originating from a statement by Lucy's friend, says that Lucy reportedly boarded a cycle along with other passengers. This motorcycle ran into a stationary truck, resulting seen in the video. The owner of this Twitter handle, IK Osakudiwa, is a well-known celebrity, and I'm sure he will still be insulted for this. Killed at the Lekki toll. Claim: various numbers of people were reportedly killed by soldiers at the Lekki toll shooting incident on Tuesday night. In other accounts, the number ranging from 15 to 25 individuals reportedly shot dead. We fact-checked it. After a considerable detailed search of hospitals and mortuaries in the state, Governor Judicial confirmed that only 1 life was confirmed lost in connection to the Lekki incident. According to staff of Regency Hospital Lekki, the death of the unnamed individual was caused by blunt force trauma, and he was on Admiralty Road. Another body with a gunshot wound was deposited in a mortuary in Yaba. An investigation is still ongoing to see if this occurred at the Lekki toll incident. I spoke personally with the governor on this because the Nigerian army was not happy about 2 things. The first, his denial that he asked us to intervene, when in actual fact, it was the proper thing to even do. He called the Chief of Army Staff and called the GOC 81 Division and asked for intervention because the police had been overrun. Then 2, two things. I spoke with the governor. He said the army was unhappy that he said he did not ask the army to intervene. But I'm sure after we've watched everything, we saw he had more than reasonable grounds to ask the army to intervene. Perhaps it was the way everything went that made him say so. That afternoon, he had called the Chief of Army Staff and the GOC. After asking the Commander 9 Brigade to intervene, the Commander 9 Brigade could not intervene because the procedure was not followed. and asked him to call the Chief of Army Staff and the GOC.
The first call was to Commander
9th Brigade. He has to call General Budai and Major General Omelo, the GOC. It will surprise you to know that the governor did not have the GOC's number, and neither did the GOC have the governor's number. So, it was when the governor, the GOC, was on assignment in Abuja. After the sitting, he came out and saw a number of missed calls from a number. And when he called back, they were able to speak at some point. But he had called the Chief of Army Staff. Following which, '81 Division Nigerian Army was ordered into phase 4 of internal security operations. It was in the afternoon. Yeah, I don't have the exact time. It was in the afternoon. I would say yes, before 4 p.m. Before 4 p.m. The second was when 2 people died. And he said, yes, 1 person died in Admiralty Road due to blunt force trauma. And Admiralty Road is about 3 kilometers from that place. They saw the police brought in a body to the mortuary in Yaba, and he said he believed perhaps they had a run-in. Lekki, Yaba, the distance is far, and we're listening to the BBC reports about sporadic firing in Yaba. Youth Service Corps member death rumor. A photo of a young Corps member shot in the stomach went viral on social media, with claims that he died as a result of a shootout on the Lagos mainland. The rumor was debunked, with the person in question coming forward to clarify that the photo in question was taken during a stage play earlier in the year. Steve Abbey rumored dead on Twitter. Steve Abbey was said to have died at the Lekki protest ground on Tuesday, according to reports. His last words were peace and unity. Rest in peace, comrade. Analysis. Steve put out a post on his Twitter page to debunk the rumor. He came from the dead. Maybe he debunked it. Did a Nigerian soldier shoot machine gun to protesters? A clip showing an anonymous soldier purportedly shooting with what seemed to be a tank-mounted 50 caliber machine gun tweets shared the post suggesting that the soldier was a member of the Nigerian army shooting at a peaceful and unarmed protesters at the Lekki toll gate. To start with, what jumps at you here is the 50 caliber. This is an anti-aircraft weapon called a Brownie. It's used to bring aircrafts down. Then you can imagine firing it in direct row. Analysis. We can confirm with 100% accuracy that this video was doctored. The audio seems to be taken from the actual Lekki toll shooting incident. This is evident in another video where soldiers were actually seen shooting in the air with what seemed to be AK-47s, apparently to intimidate protesters, not our words, who kept shouting "EndSARS." The video footage onto which the audio was spliced of a soldier with a high caliber machine gun is presumably from a firefight with insurgents in the northeast Nigeria. Was Oke killed by a stray bullet? Oke Obi Enaduhuze is hit in the neck by a stray bullet from his wounds because the ambulance sent to help him was prevented from giving medical aid by Nigerian army. Oke Obi Enaduhuze is hit in the neck by a stray bullet. This is the claim. Analysis. Oke's brother has since refuted the claim that his brother was hit in the neck by a stray bullet from officers trying to repel touts. Oke hoodlums who broke into their home at Makinde Police Barrack, Mafoluku, Oshodi, Lagos. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital, where he was taken to by his mother and brother. Ira Oya Godwin death rumor. Godwin was said to have died of gunshot wound to his stomach during the protests on the mainland. Please retreat and add full names of any victims of anybody you know. Let's keep their memory alive by saying their names. His friends, Fajen Simi, took to his Twitter page to inform people that Godwin is very much alive and named Godwin's residence to show proof of life. Chairman of the board, members of this esteemed board, ladies and of the panel, ladies and gentlemen, this is the extent to which unscrupulous people go on the internet, social media, to cast the Nigerian army in bad light, even when it is performing its constitutional duties. Not only in this crisis, but generally, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, has had some special directives in the conduct of all our operations. The first is that he frowns on indiscipline. Like I earlier told you, once a soldier is reported to be indisciplined, more so in this internet age, it is investigated immediately. The military police, and sometimes they do it. First, he is disciplined. In some cases, dismissed. But when these issues are reported, when we even get back to these media houses, the social media, and report that this is what happened to the soldier, first, they do not give it as wide a coverage as they gave the initial offense. And two, default setting, it's a lie. The Chief of Army Staff specialized orders that no soldier is to molest civilians and defaulters will be severely sanctioned. That is still being carried out till today. Most importantly, women and children must be protected at all costs. He frowns particularly against femicide. Infrastructure and businesses must be protected against arson and looting. It is unfortunate we find ourselves in this situation where the people we have sworn to defend is. However, we also know that most of these perceptions and our mindsets, opinion of the public about the Nigerian army, is the result of ignorance of how the army is structured and how it operates. The Nigerian army never turned against the citizens of Nigeria. We will always do our best to protect the integrity of the nation. And that is what 2 hours or thereabout, I've briefed you about the involvement of the Nigerian Army in the Lagos 2020 October crisis. Recall, I gave you a background to the crisis, and I now delved into the Lekki toll gate incidents. I also intimated you about the conduct of operations and the aftermath of the crisis. Most importantly, I took time to discuss the campaign of misinformation against the Nigerian Army. My Lord, Chairman of the panel, other members of the panel, ladies and gentlemen, some people take delight in misrepresenting Nigeria, the armed forces, and particularly the Nigerian Army, to the international community and our fellow Nigerians. This, I believe, is done for pecuniary gains and to chase clout. Quite recently, a Nigerian, Catherine Ume, also known as DJ Switch, claimed the Nigerian Army was looking for her. There's nothing further than the truth. My Lord, we have bigger fish to fry, and that is how to stabilize Lagos. We can't one or two people. Where she got that from, I do not know. I personally have met with not less than 8 people who attended ENSA's protest at Lekki. Met on their own terms. I've met doctors who are there. And the injuries are not even consistent with gunshot injuries. The social media campaign of the Nigerian Army has been very active and filled with lies. Very evil and wicked. It is being conducted as if officers and men of the Nigerian army come from the moon or from Pluto and are not a member of the larger Nigerian society. There's no way. Officers and men will kill their brothers and sisters. I repeat, no way. We have those who constantly seek to drive a wedge between us and between the citizens and Nigerians, forgetting that the result of a hated armed forces, of hated security agencies, is anarchy. We have seen it happen in Nigeria before. The Boko Haram crisis started as a quarrel with Boko Haram against Federal Road Safety Corps and wearing of helmets. And some citizens were supporting Boko Haram. It graduated to attacks on police. They were supporting police. Then went on to the attack on the armed forces and the army. And they were attacking, they were happy. Yes, they are attacking the police, they are attacking the army. Where do we find ourselves now? The same Boko Haram is attacking and killing innocent civilians. I am sure they regret their support initially to the terrorists. They also seek to degrade the integrity and efficiency of the Nigerian. This, my Lord, will lead to anarchy. My Lord, the chairman of the panel, members of the panel, ladies and gentlemen, they will never succeed because the army, Nigerian army, belongs to you and all of us. It is the people's army who will not be deterred from our mandate, which is to protect the lives of each and every Nigerian. God bless Nigeria, God bless its citizens, and God bless Nigerian army.